There are so many scams out there targeting podcasters, and today I'm going to give you the top 8 to avoid.
And now, a look at what's trending in the podcast world and how it can help your show. It's the Jag Show Podcast.
I swear top 8 was a coincidence. It has nothing to do with the return of MySpace. Okay, podcast scams to avoid. The first is the appearance fee with a tech check. In this case, they're offering you a fee to come on a podcast, and they're going to ask you to come on ahead of time and do a tech check and make sure your mic and your camera work. I do tech checks for my clients all the time and their guests. But if this is somebody you don't know and trust asking you to do a tech check, they may have a way to hack into your system, and Lord knows what they can do once they've done that. So avoid the sketchy tech check. And moreover, this kind of goes into number 2 as well, asking you to pay to be on their show. Now, whether they're asking you to pay to be on their show or offering you money to come on their show, very few times is a podcast guest paid to appear on a show. There are some who do charge an appearance fee, but they're few and far between. So if somebody is asking you out of the blue to pay to be on a show or offering to pay you to be on a show, red flag, run away. The next scam is offering to feature you on a big website. The idea being that they are going to put your show on a website. They're often going to charge a fee for it, and you're going to show up. You're going to get SEO. You're going to get downloads. You're going to get hits and eyeballs and earballs. No. Most of the time, if someone's offering to feature you on a website and they're charging you for it, either the website is not going to get hits or you're not going to be featured. Either way, you've lost money on a vanity project. Speaking of vanity, download and review promises. The idea that they are going to give you downloads and reviews for your podcast, you just got to pony up a little bit of dough. First off, as I mentioned in the previous episode of the Jag Show, download metrics and podcast charts, they're vanity metrics. They really don't matter in the grand scheme of things. And furthermore, if they are giving you fake reviews and downloads for your show, there are several red flags here. One, the fake reviews, oftentimes written by AI or a non-English speaker, very obvious to tell. And the idea of downloads, this is a really important point. If you are getting a huge boost in downloads from bots or however they're trying to scam the system, at some point, that well is going to run dry. Either you're going to stop paying them or they're going to stop giving you all those downloads and your numbers are going to drop off a cliff, and anyone can tell that the numbers were inflated. But even more important, some of these scammers, when you stop paying for your downloads and reviews, they will threaten you with putting a bunch of negative reviews on your show. That'll sink anything, just like it would Yelp or otherwise. People are going to see negative reviews on your show. They may not listen. Once they have you paying, they have you by the you-know-whats. The fifth one to avoid, sponsor pitches. The idea that someone is going to back up a Brinks truck to you to sponsor your show, particularly if you're not a really high-profile show. Podcast sponsors are best sold on a relationship basis. Someone that you have a relationship with, someone that really believes in your show or in your content or wants to be in front of your audience. The idea that someone is going to throw you a bunch of cash to sponsor your show, the definition of too good to be true. The next one is podcast equipment. Oh, this is a good one. Podcast equipment is expensive. This microphone, $400. The camera that is my main camera here, that was like $900. If you start seeing this stuff on eBay or somewhere else for like $100, $200, exercise extreme caution. Again, too good to be true. You think you're getting a cheap microphone, it could be damaged, it could be a box of newspaper clippings by the time it shows up at your door, and there's nothing you can do about it. Next, podcast awards. Now, there's a little bit of a mixed bag here. And this is true of a lot of industries. To be considered for an award, you've got to submit an application fee. If having the award on your LinkedIn and up on a plaque behind you on your Zoom calls is really that important to you and you want to put in your email signature, you might consider doing this, but really vet the award process and the review process, because a lot of these folks will gladly take your money and either everybody gets a trophy, or you can just pay to get the award after the show. I fell victim to this with something called the Signal Awards, which really appears to be a legitimate podcast award. But I paid, I applied, I didn't win, I had nothing to show for it, except a bunch of stuff in my email and snail mail. Finally, the podcast network, the idea that someone is going to offer you money or sponsorship cuts to be part of a network. Now, this isn't always a scam. In fact, next week, I'm hoping to have Jeff Kirkchin from the Is This a Great Game or What podcast on my show to talk about how his show really benefited from joining a network. So some of these networks are legit. But if they're pitching you out of the blue to be on their network, this is something you really want to vet. Otherwise, you could be giving up a significant amount of money. Podcasting is so huge right now. It is the fastest growing medium. Everybody is in love with it. And as a result, there are a lot of scammers trying to take your money and play to your ego. Be very careful. If you have questions about anything that looks a little fishy or just questions about starting or improving your podcast in general, you can always find me online at jagpodcastproductions.com. Later.
Feel free to share this episode with someone who might enjoy it. And for help starting a podcast or improving your current show, find Jag online at jagpodcastproductions.com.